Welcome, everyone. Sorry we're starting a little bit late. Thank you, sir. Everyone's so excited to be here. I'm going to call this regular meeting of the Elk Grove Unified School Board to order at 6:09 p.m. and announce that the board met in closed session and that there were no actions taken. Today's meeting is being video recorded and will be available on the district's YouTube channel. Blue cards are available at the table just outside of the boardroom for anyone who wishes to address the board. If you wish to address the board, please complete a card and hand it to a staff member at the table to my right. Be sure to indicate whether the matter you wish to address is on the agenda or not on the agenda. If the matter is on the agenda, we will assume you wish to speak when it comes time to address that item, and we'll hold your card until then. First item in our meetings is always the Pledge of Allegiance, which today will be led by our Herman Leimbach Elementary Education partner, Ms. Claudia Neri, and Principal Abelardo Cordova, and will be assisted by my board colleague, Chet Madison, who's going to kick us off. As you folks, please come on up, and Mr. Madison is going to tell us a little bit about Ms. Neri. Just take the podium.
You can bring the family up too if you'd like.
Yeah, the family's welcome to come up if you'd like. Oh, they're being shy.
Don't want to come?
Come on up. Come on up. We have a brave one. Yeah.
Okay, we'll get started here. Herman Leimbach Elementary School is honored to recognize Ms. Claudia Neri as our educational partner. Ms. Neri's son, Nathan, is in the 5th grade, and her daughter, Danielle, is in the 3rd grade. Nathan has been a Leimbach Lion since preschool. Both students participate in the Capital Region Engineering, Science, and Technology, formerly known as the Math Engineering Science Achievement. Nathan has also represented Herman Leimbach 2 years consecutively in the district spelling bee. Ms. Neri serves as a member of our English Language Advisory Committee and also served as a member of our school site council. She volunteers for our annual Harvest Festival and donates her time to her children's grade classrooms. Herman Leimbach Elementary is proud to recognize Ms. Neri as a dedicated parent who is actively involved in our school community. With that, we'll have everybody stand and remove any caps.
Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
Don't go anywhere, please. Mr. Madison's headed down to give you a little token of our appreciation. Good point. Let's go once. Okay, one more. Thank you again. Next, we have our high school student representative reports. With us today, we have Elk Grove High, Monterey Trail, and Rio Casadero High Schools. Let's hear from Elk Grove first.
Teres Espinoza, members of the board, Superintendent Hoffman, and Ms. Avalos. My name is Cecily Trejo, and I am the Senior School Board Representative.
And my name is Garrett Medina, and I'm also the Senior School Board Representative.
And we are proud to report on behalf of Elk Grove High School. The semester started off fast, especially with our winter homecoming rally and the Elk Grove Regional Scholarships that were due on January 19th. For seniors, it was a stressful week for those who chose to apply for our regional scholarships. At the same time, our class councils and ASB were busy working hard to put on our winter homecoming rally. At this rally, our homecoming royalty couples were announced, and 3 couples were being represented by each class. It was a lot of fun with several skits and performances to reveal the winning couples. We are also looking forward to our multicultural rally in February, where students can perform traditional cultural dances or even songs. This rally is important because it shows the students that we can create unity in diversity. Recently, the district's attention has been directed to responding to acts of hate and racism that have occurred within our district. In response to these events, Elk Grove High School proactively launched a campaign using the hashtag #ElkGroveLoves in order to work together with Kindness Week, which was a directive from the Department of Education. During our week of kindness from January 22nd through the 27th, our students were able to engage in several acts of kindness throughout the week that were able to make our school and community a happier and kinder place. Activities included giving nice messages to students on sticky notes, throwing away trash on campus, and sending letters to members in our community, thanking them for their service. We wrapped up our Kindness Week with our Herd Pride Day, where students came to school on Saturday, January 27th, and helped clean our campus and make it look nicer by doing tasks such as removing staples from our bulletin boards, sanding and painting them, putting bark and mulch into our planter boxes, and redoing the designer plastic cups at the entrance of our stadium. We had close to 100 students, teachers, alumni, and community members attending. Our efforts were highlighted on Good Morning Sacramento. In all, it was a proactive week which helped make our campus a happier and cleaner place.
Following our week of kindness was our Homecoming Spirit Week from January 29th to February 2nd. This year's theme for our homecoming was seasons, so we had spirit days in order to represent each season. On Monday, people wore cozy winter clothing. On Tuesday, students wore spring pastel colors, and on Wednesday, we had a summer beach day. Thursday was a fall flannel day, and of course, Friday was our blue and gold day. Our homecoming dance followed on Saturday night, where our students were able to dance and have a fun night filled with music. On the athletic side of our school, our winter sports teams were busy preparing for the start of their seasons. Most recently, our women's basketball team had a big win against Pleasant Grove. Not only was this a big rival win for the Herd, but it was also our homecoming game. Over at Pleasant Grove, our men's team suffered a tough loss with big performances by Sidney Ha and Enoch Lee. On the field, our men's and women's soccer teams were busy playing against Grant. Although both teams have faced their own struggles throughout the season, both teams are in the hump of playoffs. Our wrestling team is amidst another great season. Last weekend, our men's and women's wrestling teams were the runner-ups for the regional tournament. With the end of the season coming around the corner, we'd like to wish our winter sports teams the best of luck, as well as the spring teams preparing and conditioning for their upcoming seasons. Our third Renaissance signups happened from January 27th to 29th. Students who received a 3.0 GPA or higher in the first semester this year receive rewards including homework passes, hall passes, student store coupons, and candy. With the end of our school year coming just around the corner, we will be having our Academic Awards Night in order to acknowledge the students with outstanding academic achievement on March 5th. Our mathletes are also getting ready for the Math Cup, which is a perennial competition between 20 different schools. Good luck, Elk Grove. For our Academic Decathlon Club, we have students that meet twice a week and study a multitude of subjects, including math, literature, and economics. The goal of their group is to train in order to become a team and medal in competitions. Last weekend, members of our team, including Emil Kumar, Taryn Ellis, Tracy Tran, Bryant Lee, and Connor Phillips, all received medals. Congratulations to them for a great season, and good luck preparing for next year. Elk Grove High School is fortunate enough to have career technology education programs. We have a total of 421 students enrolled in these programs, which include welding, floral, and woodshop. In these classes, students are able to receive a hands-on experience of career-based education, which gives experience that directly prepares them for real-world jobs to enter skilled workforces. Our TDA Academy hosts their annual Black and White Ball. The students organized it to have a potluck and a DJ. February 9th is our junior classes Prom Expo. Prom Expo is where local hair, makeup, and dress shops donate their time and dresses to be modeled on stage during lunch. Not only does this give the students excited about prom in March, but it also gives a chance to bring attention to local businesses here in Elk Grove. As a result of our Ag Academy's Blacklight Dodgeball getting canceled due to power issues in the rescheduled to January 30th, Ag also has conferences from February 10th through the 11th as well as in April. The seniors are getting excited for their last high school dance, Senior Ball, which is in April. Ball is especially special to the seniors because it not only brings them together but bonds them closer as a class. Our mock trial team is currently competing in the Sacramento County competition in which we have won for 5 consecutive years and have a history of placing high. Mock trial helps our students learn about American legal systems and teaches civics to those who watch the competitions. As always, we invite all of the members of the board and anyone in the Elk Grove community to join us in all the activities here at Elk Grove High School. Thank you.
Thank you, Elk Grove. Next up, let's hear from Monterey Trail.
Good evening, President Charis Espinoza, members of the board, Superintendent Hoffman, Ms. Avalos. My name is Nufun, and I'm the ASB President.
I am Simran Ram, ASB Vice President, and we are both proud to represent Monterey Trail High School. Go Mustangs!
Since we last met, so much has happened here on our campus, and so much has yet to come. Now here's a brief overview of all the exciting events that has happened on the trail. Related to our academic program, on October 16th, Monterey Trail hosted our Falls Awards Night, where our students were recognized for perfect attendance and or 3.75 GPA or and above. Over 375 students were recognized for their outstanding achievement and hard work. Our Renaissance of Term 1 took place on November 7th through November 9th, in which students who received a 3.0 GPA and above were recognized and rewarded with Mustang swag. Over 1,346 students were invited to participate in this occasion. Our Term 2 Renaissance will take place on February 13th to February 15th of next week, where over 1,300 students will be recognized. On Saturday, February 3rd, our academic decathlon team competed in the Sacramento County academic decathlon and placed 7th out of nearly 30 schools. Monterey Trail also hosted AP Derby Night, an informational meeting for any students intending to take higher level courses. Many of our very own AP students attended to share their experiences and with giving advice. The individual departments maintained their own stations with signs that interested students would be able to ask any questions regarding classwork, homework, rigor, and so on. Our very own students were very engaged. A special shout out to our student Ritik Singh, who placed first and received a $500 award for creating an ad that campaigns to spread careers and energy. This contest was held between all Sacramento colleges and high schools.
And now for ASB. We held our Unity Day on November 30th, where our Mustangs were able to make new friends on campus, understand one another better, and strengthen our Mustang community. Our second Unity Day will be held on February 22nd. On December 8th, we held Parent Lunch Day, where parents or guardians were invited to enjoy lunch with their students. They were also able to participate in games such as beanbag toss, bingo, volleyball, and ladder toss. On January 18th, Monterey Trail hosted our annual open house showcase, in which we invited families from our community to come and check out how amazing Monterey Trail is. Our open house included a food fair from various clubs selling a variety of food, an art exhibit representing the work of our Mustang students, and activities from different departments. This fun night also had different performances by choir, theater, impulse, and apprentice. The amazing Raymond Case Choir that included 120 students also performed. The choir stole the show. The future is bright on the trail. We are proud to report that we had over 600 people in attendance. This event really gives parents the opportunity to see what goes on the trail. What a great time to be a Mustang. On January 24th, Monterey Trail held our second Mustang Shadow Day with Edward Harris Junior Middle School. This event had Mustang students from all grade levels act as mentors to our 8th grade students. The day began with performances from band, impulse, and cheer. The future Mustangs then were able to sit in real-life high school classes, get a tour of campus, and learn about our electives and hear from a student panel. In celebration of Black History Month, our ASB class created a giant mural located in the cafeteria to recognize the achievements of African Americans in U.S. history. We are also including a mini history lesson mini history lessons, and great accomplishments of African Americans in our daily announcements.
On the athletic front, our fall sports team from cross country, water polo, football, women's volleyball, women's tennis, and golf ended on a great note. We are proud of our student athletes who are consistently displaying our 4 core values: integrity, confidence, respect, and community. Our very own cross country runner, Ruben Garcia, represented Monterey Trail at sections on November 10th. Our winter sports team consists of wrestling, men's and women's basketball, cheer, and men's and women's soccer. Speaking of wrestling, I would like to give a shout out to our freshman, Andreas Argumendo, who is currently undefeated in our league. He is also the first freshman in Monterey Trail history to have qualified to the Day 2 of the Timms Brown Tournament. Our track and field, softball, baseball, men's volleyball, men's tennis, and swim kicked off spring sports with conditioning and tryouts on February 5th to February 8th. For our clubs, Poly Ohana is holding their 11th annual talent showcase on February 9th, and they're excited to showcase the various talents of Monterey Trail students. While Key Club is getting ready for the Jersey Convention held on April 13 to 15, our members have been keeping themselves busy by serving the community. Since the start of the year, Monterey Trail Key Club had over 3,600 hours of service and raised a little $900 for charities. This is a great representation of our core value community.
Now for VAPA. On January 12th, the VAPA programs performed to the 8th graders of Edward Harris Middle School to encourage future participation in their activities. Concert band and symphonic band performed their award-winning set on December 13th. It was a packed house, and guests had the luxury to indulge on delicious desserts and drinks. Theater had their 8th winter annual fest called the Greek Mythology Olympiaganza on the 25th and 26th of January.
This concludes our presentation this evening. Simmer and I will be reporting back to you on April 17th of 2018. In the meantime, we'd like to extend our invitations to the board to come visit the trail anytime to see all the great things that are happening every day. Have a great evening, and thank you for your time and support. Go Mustangs.
Thank you, Mustangs. Next up, let's hear from our Rio Casadero High School representatives.
Good evening, President Cheris Espinoza, members of the school board, Superintendent Hoffman, and Ms. Avalos. My name is Kiana Longmire, and I am here with Hunter Williams. I have been attending Rio Casadero for about 2 years now, and my experience at Rio Casadero has been phenomenal. I am involved in student leadership, and the main question I always get is, what is student leadership? Leadership consists of 1 to 2 representatives from each advisory class that meets every Monday. We guide the talents and energy of teachers, students, and parents toward achieving amazing and fun events and activities. These fun events and activities include fundraisers, planning for senior trip, Spear Week, and Friday Night Live. Friday Night Live is a program that brings awareness to the community about minors drinking and smoking and how accessible it is to obtain these items. Student leadership also promotes Rio Casadero's PBIS. PBIS stands for Positive Behavioral Intervention and Support. It is a method of teaching and promoting good behavior to increase school safety and positive attitudes. Rio Casadero's PBIS expectations have been organized around 3 key things: respect, integrity, and own it. Since the first letters of those things spell Rio, that makes it easy to apply.
That's a good idea.
Speaking of positive attitudes, students at Rio have positive attitude for the upcoming events. We are currently planning a senior trip with details to be finalized, and we will be participating in the Alternative Education Prom in April. This year, Daler High School is the sponsor, and students from the other Elk Grove alternative high schools get to attend. March will be a full month. We have a field trip planned to Alcatraz on Saturday, March 10th, and it will be free for the students who go. Our school has gone the last few years, and it is always an amazing experience. And students learn a lot about the history of the prison and the island. We also have our annual college and career fair on March 9th. Representatives from various colleges and career fields will be here, and will have speakers to help us get prepared for our future. One of the highlights of the alumni panel where former students talk to us about life after high school. It is always interesting because they have been in our shoes and understand our experiences. We also took the Sacramento City College tour and have plans to go to the Crocker Art Museum. One of my favorite things about Rio Cazadero, besides the activities, is the amazing support from all the staff that go above and beyond to help their students. Thank you for giving me the time to represent my school, share my experiences, and talk about all the events and programs at Rio Cazadero High School. And now Hunter will tell you a little bit more about our school.
Good evening. My name is Hunter Williams, and we have a lot of fun activities at Rio. I come to school every day looking forward to the new things here. Some of my favorites are Senior Sunrise Breakfast, Power of One Conference, Shakespeare in the Park, and Job Club. Let me tell you about them. For our Senior Sunrise Breakfast, we all woke up early for Rio's chef-made breakfast. There was delicious bacon, sausage, cereal, fruit bowl, and chocolate with all the works. All of my friends got up to have fun at school, even the lazy late birds. One of the newest things at Rio has been the addition of the video production program. Part of the school was remodeled last year from a grant, and one of the rooms that they developed was a new media lab. The students recently competed to create some public service announcements, and they were really good. They are now going to enter them into some regional contests as they build to build more. Earlier this year, we went to San Francisco for Shakespeare in the Park. It was one of the best field trips I ever been on. I felt like we went there as a family and had an adventurous time seeing all the views and sights in San Francisco. It was all free for the students. All we had to do was come to school where we watched the movie Hamlet so that we would understand the play. You can't beat that. And did you hear me say I went to Saturday school? That isn't because I was in trouble. Rio Casadera has a program once a month on Saturday where students can get help from teachers and do homework and earn extra credit as they provide us with refreshments. Job Club has been great. As the result, then more of our students are in the workforce. We learn about jobs and careers and get time to develop our resumes. Several big corporation managers have come in to talk with us about real-world job-related scenarios. During the Power of One conference earlier this year, one of Rio's seniors was on a panel and shared with the Elk Grove District employees what it was like to be an African-American youth right now. Rio Casadera decided to have a similar panel for our teachers. I was with a group of other students and spoke about overcoming a tumultuous past. I am still coping with things like police brutality, ignorant racism, bullying, and life's rough cycle. Without telling them that, our teachers and staff would have never known about this just by looking at our grades. I've been homeschooled and attended other schools, but I wasn't successful. I did not want to go to school. Often I would be late or ditch. My grades at one point dropped to mostly F's. Since I came to Rio, I have never been this eager, motivated, and determined to graduate. I've now had all A's and one B all year at Rio. My first time ever being on honor roll. I wake up on time and have never ditched at Rio. I've been having so much fun, I can't believe how fast I got my credits all the way down to 8 left. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to share what's happening at Rio Casadero High School.
Thank you, Raptors. Great job. Great report. Before dismissing the students, I want to take a moment to also recognize the principals that lead these outstanding students. Ms. Kathy Guy, principal of Elk Grove High School. Mr. Eric Swanson, principal of Monterey Trail High School. And Doug Wendell, principal of Rio Casadero High School. Thank you, students. You are dismissed. Our next item is the Kids Can Food Drive recognition, which will be presented by Santi Pinkerton, and assisting will be my colleague Bobby Singh Allen.
Thank you, Board President Chairez Espinosa, members of the board, Superintendent Hoffman, and Ms. Avalos. Tonight we have the representatives of the Elk Grove Food Bank Services with us, Ms. Glenda Francis, Mr. Mark Francis, and also Jean Sadler. And as Jean and Mark get the students and the families ready to come up, Tonight, we're going to be recognizing students, parents, and staff at Pleasant Grove High School, Joseph Kerr Middle School, and Pleasant Grove High School for their contributions to the Kids Can Food Drive.
Hello. The Kids Can Food Drive, it held its annual canned food drive, which ended in mid-November. We collected a total of 87,465 cans for the food bank. That is a lot. Kids Can is the main food drive for our food bank. This food will feed hungry clients for about 4 to 6 months. We serve over 2,000 clients each month, and a growing percentage of these people are seniors on a fixed income. The Elk Grove Food Bank would like to recognize the top high school, middle school, and elementary school. They'd also like to recognize one student who did an extraordinary job in collecting cans. The top high school was Pleasant Grove High School, which collected approximately 20,000 cans. Jeff Platt coordinated this. Jeff Platt coordinated this effort. The students actually loaded all the boxes onto the truck. In particular, one student, James Dial, collected a total of 800 cans.
Wow.
The top middle school was Joseph Kerr, which collected 3,000 cans. And Chris Paris coordinated this effort. Are they? They're all up here.
Come on up. Jean needs to go to the front.
The top elementary school was Elliott Ranch, which collected 4,970 cans.
Right.
Adrienne Clemens coordinated this effort. Well, let me do her award, okay? We would also like to recognize Kylie Romberger for her extraordinary efforts. Kylie is in the first grade at Elliott Ranch, and she collected an amazing of 1,728 cans of fruit.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I gotta say, fruit is usually the first item that the food bank runs out of. Kylie, the Elk Grove Food Bank is very grateful for all your efforts.
Congratulations again, and thank you. My cheeks hurt from smiling, so we could use more of those.
So just so you know too, across the district, several of the schools participated, contributing a total of 87,465 cans, which came to a total of 82,514 pounds of food, which is as heavy as, about half as heavy as the space shuttle.
Wow. Thank you. Our next item is our resolution in recognition of National School Counseling Week, which will be presented by Mr. Mark Cerruti with the assistance of my colleague Beth Albion.
And if I could be joined up here also by Mr. Ralph Robles, our district head counselor. Ralph is super popular. And if we can also have our fabulous representatives of our school counseling team, come on up, folks. With you up here, it'll be all but impossible for the board not to approve this resolution.
Strength in numbers.
Being married to a school counselor, I was told to read this very carefully. It's a great pleasure of mine to bring a recommendation to the board for consideration of approval of Resolution 44, proclaiming February 5th through the 9th of 2018 as National School Counseling Week. This week marks the National School Counselors Week and provides the board with an opportunity to acknowledge our school counselors for the tremendous impact they have in helping students' academic achievement success, remain socially and emotionally healthy, and plan for their futures. In addressing areas such as student achievement, college career planning, and providing social emotional support and crisis response, school counselors play a critical role in student success as well as in early intervention and prevention through counseling and guidance programs that provide direct services to students and their families. The district's counseling program is considered exemplary throughout the region. Our counselors have aligned their work with both national and California standards for school counseling. The district and our community appreciate and recognize the work of our counselors in providing students with necessary guidance to support their academic, social, personal, and post-secondary success. And with that, I respectfully request the board approve Resolution 44 to recognize our school counselors during this National Counseling Week.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded by Mr. Madison. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous. The motion passes.
Thank you.
And Ms. Santi Pinkerton made it back just in time to get a snapshot. Very smooth. Thank you, counselors. Oh, one more. Social media, or it didn't happen? Thank you. Our next item is public comment. This is public comment for items not on today's agenda. First up is Mr. Michael Casper, who will be followed by Michael Lynch.
My name is Mike Casper, and I am the co-founder and COO of an organization called Improve Your Tomorrow, also known as IYT. Michael Lynch and myself both graduated from Valley High School, and one thing we noticed was that there were very few people that looked like us that went on to further their education. Some dropped out and were incarcerated. Others were participated in drugs and in gangs. But one thing that they didn't lack was potential, right? They all had potential. They all had a desire to want more for themselves, just like Lynch and I. But these individuals, they lacked resource, exposure, and motivation. This bothered Mike and I because we both understood what our alternative endings could have looked like if we didn't have good mentors that intervened in our lives. For me in particular, right, I recall a mentor that understood that hurt people hurt people. And although I was smiling on the exterior, internally I was hurt, right, and I was crying out for help. My mentor, she helped me be able to navigate the things that were going on with me personally. And then she began to enhance my academics by saying things that were foreign to me, like, I believe in you, and I see great potential in you, and you will go to college. I wanted to pay that forward. Mike wanted to pay that forward. And we wanted to be a part of changing the outcomes of young men of color. So we started IYT in 2013 with 17 students at Valley High School, and our mission is simple. It's to get more young men of color to and through college. 5 years later, we're currently serving roughly 650 students across 10 campuses. And within Elk Grove Unified, we're serving 3 campuses. Our brothers join the program as early as 7th grade, and they don't graduate from the program until they are done with college. Next up, my brother Michael Lynch. He's going to come up and talk to you more about the impact that the program has paid on our young men. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Come on down, Mr. Lynch.
Really and truly, thank you for the opportunity to address. And Casper and I both just wanted to come and share the impact your investment over the past couple of years has had across South Sacramento at the schools we've been able to serve. And a lot like, excuse me, a lot like Casper, grew up in a single-parent home, right? Faced many of the same challenges, right, that my students face. It's funny. Casper and I just left Valley High School 15 minutes ago, and we always set out peanut butter and jelly, right, after school so the kids can come meet. I mean, you would think the gratefulness they have when they come and they see us, right, and we talk about the day, but they get a chance to eat, what it does and what it further engages them. Over the past 5 years, we've been able to impact our young men at a very systemic level. With our first graduating class in 2015, dating back, Michael and Casper and I went to Valley High School in 2005, right, to where it was in 15. Valley High School had about a 20% A through G completion rate for black males. With our first graduating class, we helped to double it, right, to 40% by simply graduating 7 additional black males who were A through G eligible. And those results weren't just done in isolation. They were done in partnership with counseling and AVID, right, and the partners on campus that would help us to succeed. And over the past couple of years, we've had 100% high school graduation rate. We have a 94% college attendance rate, 89% college acceptance rate. Recently, we one of our young men just got accepted in the Humboldt State, and that's my alma mater. And so now they're all pretty excited. But every year we have kind of just saw the program change and grow, largely due to support that we had. Just wanted to share a couple of stories. One of our students, Oscar, he's a sophomore at UC Davis. When he first came into the program as a freshman, very similar to most of our students, family of immigrants, English learner. Freshman year, semester before he started IYT, he had a 1.67 GPA. And this is a kid who extreme potential, but yet no one was able to quite tap into it and really, truly, fully understand. 3 semesters later, he had a 4.33. Oscar a couple weeks ago spoke at one of our events, and someone was like, "What was it?" He was like, "It was the belief. It was the belief for me that someone had that before." In particular, for us, he said Mike pushed me, right, to want to get better. That's the same thing we instill in all our staff. Is our young men have great potential, some of them just haven't been tapped to be able to do the great stuff that they know they can do. And we sincerely appreciate the partnership that you've allowed us to be able to serve on the campuses, and just wanted to come to say thank you to the board.
Thank you for the work you do. Our next item is the consent agenda. I'd like to call for a motion to approve items 1 through 24.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Albiani, seconded by Ms. Singh Allen. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Passes unanimously. Thank you. Our next item is our new standing item on race and educational equity. And first under that is the progress report on race and educational equity in the district, which will be presented by Superintendent Hoffman.
Do you have the handouts? So good evening and thank you. So we actually, the first presentation is our progress report, and Ms. Avalos has some handouts because trying to read a one-pager on the screen doesn't work very well. So we have handouts for anyone that is interested in having those. And then we actually will go through a PowerPoint presentation with regards to the strategic plan for educational equity. So as you know, we've had a number of opportunities to collect feedback from our community over the past several weeks, starting with the January 16th presentation where we had nearly 500 residents that spoke with us and shared their truth, and it was an opportunity to really hear some feedback and thought processes of people across the district. We also had a second meeting where we met at Pleasant Grove High School, very similar opportunity there with about 300 people. Following that, we had the opportunity for the board to be able to share their thoughts and reflections in looking through all of the feedback that was provided, and the board set some pretty clear direction for staff moving forward, both with regards to Pleasant Grove High School specifically and the district in general. Big, broad topics that came out of this work included professional learning for teachers, for administrators, for staff, but also for students and families, and it came across very strong. The ideas of implicit bias, being clear about discipline, specialized roles, and making sure we're clear about expectations of site administrators and school employees in interacting with students, as well as the resource officers and other resources that we have at the school sites. Developing strong school and community relationships and building opportunities for stakeholders to be able to share information, so it's not just a one-way street in which we're providing information and not receiving information. Student-centered supports, building in opportunities for student voice to be clearly heard, clear channels for that to happen, and opportunities for staff to hear this and react appropriately, and making sure those measures are in place. Curriculum was another piece that came through very strongly, and making sure that the curriculums that we have in place represent the contributions of a diverse group of people that make up who we are in Elk Grove Unified, who we are in California, and who we are in the United States. Also an opportunity to look through very specific policy and reviews, and that information and work is being done as well. And the other large category that came through was recruitment, making sure that we're recruiting the best and the brightest, but also making sure that we have people that represent and reflect our students in the classroom. So those are some of the large category areas in which we're now focused. Again, it's been a few days, so we haven't solved the world's problems with regards to race and educational equity, but we're making progress. So some of the things we've done, this is one of the first steps, is each of the board meetings moving forward, we will do a progress report and let the board know where we made progress. We are also, as you'll see later tonight, rolling out a plan that we've been working on for more than a year, and that's the district's educational equity strategic plan, and that's a huge piece of the work that we're going to be doing moving forward. We've already put together specific groups within the district, and we'll be meeting and inviting other stakeholders to be part of these groups. Some of the groups will be specific to Pleasant Grove High School. An additional meeting with parents has already been set for February 22nd. And this will be a different format. This will be a format in which the site's able to share some of the steps that they've taken over the past few weeks, and also another opportunity for feedback from parents in the community. At the district level, we've already established 3 dates in which we'll be meeting with our principals, and we see the work with our principals as a key avenue for being able to get the information consistently across all of our school sites. So those three dates have already been set, and they are in February, March, and April. We'll do a meeting each of those months, and we'll be working through the strategic plan updates. We'll also be working with them to make sure we're clear about roles and responsibilities, and we'll be getting feedback from them, and then also working through discipline matrices to make sure that the information is very clear. We did hear that from site administrators, that sometimes it was challenging to figure out exactly where within the matrix issues related to hate speech and other related issues were they clearly articulated within the matrix. So that's a piece that we're working through now. So again, relatively short amount of time so far. Very proud of the work my cabinet and the extended cabinet has done in doing this work so far, and look forward to our continued work.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Any questions from my colleagues? Let's start over here, Ms. Singala.
Okay, just a couple of questions. This is really helpful work product here. So outside of attending a meeting and maybe seeing this attachment online, are we communicating with those that attended? Do we have their emails? Are we sharing information?
So we're actually working through right now with our technology services and communications department to create what we want to be careful is going through and responding individually to a whole bunch of individual people versus having a go-to place where these updates will be on a regular basis, as well as activities and things that are going on across the school. So we're going to build that into a web page. We do have the list of members who've asked to be kept in the loop, and we'll make sure once that resource is up in place, we'll make sure that we communicate that information.
That's great. So that was actually my second question, was how are we managing the people that have stepped up to help? So that's great to hear. So this is really reassuring for me as a board member, because one of the things that I don't want us to do is get comfortable and go back to business as usual. So this is very important. So I appreciate the commitment from our staff to address short-term solutions as well as a long-term program. So thank you.
Dr. Martinez and Larry, anything?
I just concur with that. I appreciate the plan, and I appreciate this being formatted in a way where we can see the underlining themes and the summary and the outcomes from the last community forums that we've had. I think it's really concise, and I appreciate that. So thank you.
Anything, Mr. Perez?
I have a question regarding budget. Are we allocating any money for this venture?
There's actually a number of things that are already in place. Now, the IYT, just as an example, tonight we funded that the last few years. The budget priority process is just underway, so we will be bringing additional ideas to the board as we move forward, but we're a little bit ahead of that curve right now.
What about curriculum? You mentioned curriculum. Would like ethnic studies classes be implemented? Anything like that?
Yeah, so we'll have a board communication. We have several of those kinds of courses already in place that are being taught across the district. The specific ethnic studies course is a course that's under development and will be brought forward to the board for approval.
For instance, I would think this would be in our LCAP in regards to school climate. So we should actually revisit those high schools that have this issue and possibly give them more funding to do some projects towards this issue. That's my suggestion.
And we'll have that opportunity when we go through the budget adoption. Thank you. Salviani, anything?
I think a lot of the things have been said, and I appreciate the commitment to make this a standing item on our agenda to make sure the public knows that it is nothing that we plan to ignore. And it's something that will take time, but we are embracing and starting down this path, and I think we're on the right direction. And I appreciate all the people who have stepped up to offer to help us.
Mr. Madison, anything?
Yeah, I don't have a lot. I just want to continue the follow-up. I think it's important, not today, tomorrow, but years down the road, particularly at some of our high schools. I guess the other question I had, the format that we had at the meeting out at Pleasant Grove, I would like to see that where they had periodic meetings out there with the principal, that the parents and the students can attend that meeting, so the administration out there can face these kids again and the parents and to acknowledge or respond to some of their, if there should be grievances or if there should be issues on that. Because I think that format was good out there, but I think it needs to be a continued process with quarterly or however the administration wants to have that out there. So it's not that us board members or anybody can, but they should be internal right there so they can address their issues. Thank you.
Yeah, I have a couple of points. First of all, it's really important for me to say that while it is certainly appropriate to always provide our constituents with an opportunity to give input, and it is good to see in writing things that we're going to do to enhance the efforts that we have been involved in. I just feel so strongly that little, if any, recognition has been given to all the wonderful things that we do on a regular basis. What we should be talking about is what we can do to enhance that which we already do, as well as looking at what we can do that is new that will encourage growth. Also, as we move forward within our effort, it needs to be inclusive of all of our constituents, and I think that's very important. And while I recognize that the issue that was the impetus for all this came out of Pleasant Grove, this is not an issue of Pleasant Grove High School. And so I guess I don't understand why we're going to just look at continued support for Pleasant Grove. The issues that were brought up occur every day at every school. And to just focus on one school, I just feel is a pretty shallow effort and one that I don't support at all. So, thank you.
I agree with you.
Okay, so first off, I just want to say I don't understand any of this to mean that we're focusing on any one school. On the contrary, there's right. Right. That's a detail on one school, but everything else on this list applies to every school in the entire district. So just for context. There's not too much to add here. I just want to echo Ms. Singh Allen's comments that it's important for various reasons to have this as a new standing item on our agenda. It's important that those parents and community members who have stepped up to be part of the solution be able to plug into this process easily and identify when we're talking about these issues. And it's also about accountability for us. It's about holding ourselves accountable. So I very much look forward to continuing discussions under this item, and my expectation, I think that of my colleagues, is that as we move forward, this is the part of the agenda where we are all going to see our work deepen. We're going to see additional levels of detail as more decisions are made. We'll be able to see what changes are going to be implemented and when they're going to be implemented. So stay tuned. That's a good start.
I just want to clarify one thing when I made the statement about PG having the meetings. Again, most of this that we have up here applies for all our comprehensive high schools or even alternative schools. But my concern is, it's not that kids in Pleasant Grove does not receive a number one type education. They all, the kids of color over there go to prestigious schools out of PG. I'm more concerned on the social and emotional part of it after they leave there. Did they have fun and was treated properly throughout their education of 4 years at Pleasant Grove High School? That's my intent. I'm not trying to just single out one school on that. But if the testimonies we heard at the meetings really clarified a lot of that, they all got good educations on that. Thank you.
And with that, Mr. Superintendent, would you like to take up the next item? That is the EGUSD Educational Equity Strategic Plan, session number 1.
I'm excited to do so. Now, this is a plan that has been in the works. How long, Sanja? Year and a half. I mean, so part of the piece we want to make sure we're clear about is we understand we have a great deal of work to do to make sure each and every kid in Elk Grove Unified has the outcomes he or she deserves. And as Mr. Forcina says, I would put Elk Grove Unified up against any district in the state with the quality of work and program that we do. But we obviously have work to do. And if we pull this off, and I fully believe we will, there's no doubt that Elk Grove Unified is going to be an even better place for each of our kids. So one thing I'll let you know just up front is this is the first of 4 presentations with regards to this plan. We actually didn't bring a copy of the plan with us, but it's a monster, just to use a slang term. It's deep and it's wide, and we're going to give it its proper due by breaking this up over 4 sessions to make sure we can do a deep dive into it. Like everything else, it's built around E4. It's built around every student learning every classroom and every subject every day as we prepare college and career-ready graduates. That's what we're all about, and this work will deepen that and make sure it becomes a reality for all of our kids. Lines up exactly with our goals. You know, we're about making sure kids have a high-quality education and quality instruction every day in their classroom. We're clear about the assessments that are in place to make sure we know that they're growing and learning, and also making sure that we programmatically evaluate the work that we do. Equity has been a piece of our work for a long time, and wellness goes along with that. We want kids that are physically and emotionally healthy, and we want them to do that in a culturally responsive and safe environment. And we believe that's the case, and part of the way we get that done is by partnering with our family and our communities, and that's part of the work that we're going to do moving forward. So like I said, just to give you an idea, so we will break this out over the next 4 meetings. We will start with the why. There's lots of different ways to engage in work, but here in Elk Grove Unified, we consistently start with the why. And so tonight, we're going to cover the why we're engaged in the educational equity work. Moving forward, we'll go into some of the nuts and bolts of how we engaged in the work, and then we'll take 2 sessions to actually do a deep dive into the plan itself. So what is educational equity? Educational equity is really talking about the systematic process by which we provide services to our kids, ensuring each decision, each policy, each practice of our learning system is culturally sensitive, provides equitable access, opportunity, support, and resources to make sure each student develops to their full potential in a safe, healthy learning environment where we have high expectations for each and every kid. Supporting stakeholders and advocating for fairness, that all kids have opportunities across the district, and the ultimate outcome is all students becoming college and career and life ready. And so this is just one more piece to support that work. Getting to the why. Education is a difference maker, and it's proven over and over again. It is a civil right, It is what provides opportunity for movement within a society like ours. Education is that ticket. We're also fully aware that educational systems have a long and pervasive history of inequity. That's built into systems across the United States, and education is not exempt from that, and we fully recognize that. Educational equity, excellence and equity are inseparable. You can't have excellence if you don't have equity across all of your student groups and opportunities for all of them. Again, we don't shy away from it. We have persistent and significant gaps in achievement, opportunity, and access in Elk Grove Unified, and we're working diligently to close all of those. It's the central mission of what we do. So a couple of posters that people have seen in different times, and I think they clearly articulate what we're talking about when we talk about equality versus equity. We're really about equity. Everybody getting the same will not lead us where we need to be. If we stay in that mode, there'll be still kids and people that aren't able to achieve at the levels that we want them to achieve. So, as Mr. Perez has said, focusing dollars and programs with specific outcomes in mind for our students is critical, and I believe we do that, and I believe we'll do more of that work moving forward. So just a little bit of a timeline. This board made an action item back in the budget development process in the 2015-16 year to develop an Office of Educational Equity and put that office in place. So this isn't new. This isn't work that's just started based on recent events. Recent events have underscored and highlighted that this is the right work. But this board has been dedicated to that work and actually put funding behind doing that. 2016-17 was really a huge work year, and the formation of the Equity Strategic Planning Team, the review of current board policies and administrative regulations, a deep dive into the research around equity, and then putting together, as Mr. Forcina speaks to often, is the decision-making model. We don't do things because they're politically expedient. We don't do things because they're the flavor of the day. We do things because we are systematic in identifying gaps, causes. We develop what we think are viable actions and services, and then we have to measure and make sure those things are working or not. And if we need to make adjustments midstream, we're confident and willing to do that. And 17-18, we're now here. We're ready to roll out the educational equity plan itself, as well as a board policy and administrative reg regarding educational equity. And what I'll say is the California School Boards Association, we use them a great deal as a resource when it comes to developing board policies and administrative regs along those lines. The reality is there is no such board policy that is recommended by CSBA. So we've actually done work where we've looked across other states across the United States to find examples of such work, and we're actually going to create something that most districts in California don't have because it's not part of the regular slate of board policies and administrative regulations, but we will have that. And the board will be able to take action on that and take a stand that this is what we're about. And we'll be bringing that to the board very shortly. So we're Elk Grove. We involve a lot of people when it comes to putting these kinds of work together. We don't work in isolation. We don't work in a small office in the back corner of the district office. We invite a wide variety of people. And of the folks here, I believe there's 45 that are listed here. And not everybody was involved every single meeting, but the vast majority of them were deeply involved in the work, and I believe each had an impact on the final outcome that we'll be presenting to you over the next 3 meetings. In theory of action, in the end, we have to do something. We heard that from our community over and over again. It can't just be words. We have to actually set forth and do the work. And we believe educational equity is a fundamental component of student success. And when all staff focuses on promoting equity to close the persistent gaps of opportunity, access, achievement, and expectations, and resource, where equality and non-discrimination are integrated into our mindset. We talk a lot about mindset in Elk Grove Unified. We talk about an outward mindset and seeing the humanity of each person that we interact with on a daily basis. And you can't do this work without an outward mindset. And we'll be focused on that with every student, every teacher, and every staff member. We recognize core institutional values informs our thinking and policies, and one of the things we talk a lot about is policy must match practice, and we have to make sure that we're clear about what our policies are, and we have to make sure that our practices live up to those policies, and that'll be part of this work as well. And inherently entwined in the academic excellence is the goal of developing leaders for a globally inclusive society. We're sending kids off, just like the two young men that came from Valley High School along with me. They're doing the work of giving back to their communities. They are adding to a globally inclusive society, and I thank them for their work and look forward to the work moving forward. But in order for that to happen, if we want that to happen, then we need to ensure decisions, policies, and practices are supportive of student learning, growth, and developing the ultimate goals of all students becoming college, career, and life ready. So we're committed to do the work, and we're excited to bring you the full plan. Oops. So again, this is about systemic change. When you talk about equity, this is not something we're going to fix in 2 weeks. This is a commitment to the work we're going to do moving forward. But in the end, we're about narrowing the current achievement gaps and opportunity gaps and access gaps that currently exist within our system. This is a quote from Michael Fullen, one of the leaders in educational thought. And he speaks to the moral purpose being at the heart of the matter and really the role of public schools. And we are a public institution. We serve all that come to us. We don't get to pick and choose. And that's the only way I would have it. And so that's the higher moral purpose of what we do. And that being the case, we as the educational system, we are the main institution for fostering social cohesion, increasing an increasingly diverse society. Public funded schools this is the place where the work has to happen, and we accept that challenge. This means addressing the cognitive and social needs of all children with an emphasis on including those who may not have been served as well in the past, and we recognize we have a great deal of work there. So Michael Fullen's quote, there's 1,000 out there, 1 million out there, but we thought this one spoke to the systematic work that we need to do moving forward. So as we move forward, we'll go to the how, and we'll actually get through the board policy and administrative reg opportunity for you to look at, and we'll take you through who the team was and also the decision-making model that we used in putting this plan together. So we analyze the data, we identify gaps, we determine what we think are the right actions. We're going to put measures in place to see if those actions get us the results we're looking for, and then making sure that we're communicating our work moving forward. And that's what we have tonight. So 30,000-foot view, introduction to the work, 3 more presentations, which will go in depth into the actual plan itself.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Colleagues, any questions on this presentation? Starting to my right this time? No? Okay, questions or comments, I should say. Anybody else?
Very good. Before, I see that just needs a little bit more funding to get there. And also, we need to get out there and recruit teachers of color, principals of color, and a variety of people to represent our community. And it's going to take a long time, I understand that. And it's not only our fault, or it's Elk Grove Unified School District, I have, legislative bodies at fault also, and our educational institutions like Sac State, the educational curriculum hasn't caught up to the times, in teaching, training, counseling training, administrative training. So culturally and linguistically, we're behind in that area too. But we'll get there. We'll work it out.
Thank you, Mr. Bettis. Anyone else? Questions, comments?
I just have a comment. I'm just looking forward to seeing more of the action plans and things moving forward. I think it's really important too when we look at the colleges. Sometimes they have special programs for certain populations to help get them through pathway programs. So I would like to see maybe some of that professional development, those important items that were mentioned over the community forums, I think are really critical. So I look forward to seeing how the action plan will roll out to address and resolve some of those main issues that were pointed out.
A couple of comments and one question. The page that says why. I really appreciate that we single out that EGUSD has a persistent and significant gap in achievement, opportunity, and access. So having that self-awareness is important because once you recognize that we have the gap, then can we address it? So I think that we know what the shortcomings are, and therefore we can actually work towards fixing that. So thank you for including that because I think it's very important. Let's see, and then let's see, the team planning. I like the diversity. I like that we have community members present. I'm sure Ms. Albion, you serve on that committee. So I noticed here, so we have a vacancy. I don't know if that's ever been filled. The Office of Educational Equity, when Ms. Starks left us.
Yeah, so that position hasn't been filled yet, because anytime you have a position of that type, doing a mid-year piece, and people might leaving other districts, is really challenging to have somebody. Your pool is better when you do a spring hire, when people are looking to go from year to year. So I will say, Sanja has just stepped up and done a huge piece with this, and the support of Sue Larson as well in doing the work. So the work is being done.
Continues.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And then I think my last comment, the theory of action, again, going back to we can have these great programs, but how are we going to see them implemented? So I like to see that spelled out here. That's great. I've been very excited and waiting for this report for several months, so thank you. I look forward to the next 3. Great job.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman. Next item is bargaining units reports. Do we have any bargaining units wishing to address the board? Seeing none. Moving on to board member and superintendent reports. Colleagues, anyone wishing to submit a report on a committee business?
I have one.
Committees? Go ahead, Ms. Allen.
So Ms. Chidas and I sit on the Elk Grove 2x2 with the city of Elk Grove. We met on January the 30th with the mayor and vice mayor of the city of Elk Grove. We had discussions on human relations / race relations, discussed an update on Performing Arts Center planning and the library, and then possibly future partnership opportunities. We did spend a decent amount of time on discussing race relations, because there is a joint sincerity on both bodies to collaborate where we can and share resources where we can, and definitely work through our communications departments to strengthen those relationships. So that was really, I think, where we spent most of our time. And then we did discuss the city is looking at building a performing arts center. What the size and capacity is still under review. So we're a few years out, of course, money depending for the city of Elk Grove, but those were some of the substantive discussions of the 2x2.
Nice job summarizing that. I won't add anything. Do we have any other committee reports? Go ahead, Mr. Madison.
Yeah, I have one. I met with the Elk Grove Scholarship Foundation last week, and we discussed our budget in detail moving forward, and also we're in a process, I think starting next week, of reviewing the applications that have been submitted to us. So looking forward to our May presentation. Thank you.
Excellent.
Chet, can I ask Chet a question? If you've started looking at applications, have you seen, to this point, have you seen an increase in the number of applications coming from schools other than Elk Grove High School?
You know, I don't have the answer by schools. Do you have that information, Santi? Yeah. Okay, I don't have it. It's not broken down, but that's a good question.
Well,
because
their counselors continue to do such a stellar job that they have the predominant number of applications coming in all the time.
Right. So I think you can get that information too. And I know there's just a lot of them. I think we've got, what, over 200, don't we? Yeah, so it's a lot they got to go through.
Nice job, counselors. Excellent. Mr. Superintendent, anything? Excellent. Nothing for me to add. Other items from the floor, colleagues?
I have, go ahead.
We'll start over here
No,
with
go
Mr.
ahead,
Fortina.
Carmen. I started last time.
Yeah, I'd like to just bring up an item I brought up before, and I bring it up since one of the things that was recognized tonight was the importance of student voice. I'd like to put on the table again for the possible discussion of a student representative on the board.
So noted. Anything else?
Yeah, I just want to bring up the comment on Improve Your Tomorrow, the two young men that came here today from Valley High School. I've had the opportunity to attend a class or two, and it's pretty amazing the work that these two fellows are doing from Valley High School. I mean, to look at young men of color that have now hope, African Americans, Hispanics, it's just amazing to watch, to go to see their classes. I think you're on Saturdays too. You fellows have that, and you can just see this turnaround in these young men that were troubled. So I want to thank you on that, and to see the progress that we are showing, and results that these kids are coming out of high school and moving on into college. So I just want to share that with my colleagues. Thank you.
Is it going back to a point we've talked about, or?
No, new
something
point.
new?
I didn't talk about it.
All right, go for it.
Thank you. Yeah, there's one thing I just wanted to bring up from the standpoint of letting people know it's going to happen and they can attend if possible. You know, last year, the Seroptimists of Elk Grove had their first graduating class, Dream It Be It, for girls at Sheldon High School. And that was a tremendous program. The girls have to commit to going, I think it was 12 weekends, Saturdays, and they learn about all aspects of developing confidence, resume writing, preparing yourself for interviews, doing those kinds of things that are really, really important to provide opportunities from yourself. And the second graduating class is going to be held on Saturday at Sheldon High School. And the Seroptimists just really need to be recognized for the work that they've done in providing that opportunity.
That's this Saturday?
I think it's, yes, this Saturday. Can you check for me real quick? I see Zanti. Yeah, Zanti. She can do, I can do it quickly myself.
Ms. Pinkerton's fact-checking, and we'll...
Yeah, she's fact-checking.
Ms. Alviani, do you have anything to add? Other items from the
I
floor?
was at the county academic decathlon banquet last night, and I'm very proud to say that of the 30 schools that competed, 5 of the top 10 were from Elk Grove.
Very nice.
So we had an impressive showing of excellent students. Even teams that didn't place high had high individuals. There's some great work going with those coaches and those students committed to that program. So I was very proud to represent there last night.
Excellent, Ms. Alviani. I'm checking back. Did we get the details?
2 o'clock, Sheldon High School, and it's in the C building.
Thank you very much. Moving down the line, any other items from the floor?
I do.
Go right ahead.
All right. Couple of items. Let's see, I did attend a portion of the Sacramento Area Black Student Union meeting that was hosted by Valley High School. I do have additional resources and contacts to share with you, Mr. Hoffman, of community members who want to help lead in some of our discussions on race and educational equity that I don't see already identified and may not have attended one of our forums, but they're excellent and they're local experts, so I think that that's really important. There is going to be on March 16th through the 18th, the state convention for the Black Student Union organization. So there is an ask to share information with the requisite chapters, our clubs and our campuses. So I'll make sure if we don't already to get those, the flyers. So that's one. I do want to just bring back as a reminder, because it's still sort of outstanding, and it doesn't need to be addressed today or tomorrow, but just to know that I haven't forgotten it, the status of our visual and performing arts master plan. We did ask the last time we had a presentation that we didn't waste the efforts of all of those volunteers and committee members in vain, and that the non-monetary allocations, that we would have at least discussions to make sure that the things that can be developed and worked on that didn't have monetary attachments to it, that we would still be working on those. So I would like to see where we are with the visual and performing arts master plan, just so that it's not sitting in a shelf, because there's a lot of people who spent a lot of time on that, so I want to recognize their hard work. And along the same lines, we also, in the past, had our discussions and wanted additional follow-up, I think, by all of us, and that is a follow-up on our project-based learning, an update on that, because we did have discussions on possible future sites, or just, how to expand PBL. So if we go back to that last meeting, and I can't even, it's been over a year, but we did leave it as we would come back and have additional information and follow-up. So I see Chris looking in bewilderment there. I'll try to remember the date, and go back to those meeting minutes, because that was an ask by all of us, actually, was to have follow-up. So it wasn't just one or two. So I'm just bringing it back up, that we still have some outstanding work on that. And then let's see, third item, I am pleased to announce I will be filling my vacancy on the Finance Committee. I will be appointing Ms. Sherry Wilson. So I just got her paperwork in today, and we'll be submitting that. I think Ludi took care of it to go, so she'll be attending future meetings once we get all that situated. And last but not least, tomorrow is the 50th birthday of our amazing superintendent, and I wasn't going to let that go. So happy birthday to Chris Hoffman.
But before you guys have to hear me sing, I'm going to kill the mic. So with no more business before the board, I'm going to adjourn this meeting at 7:33. Thank you all and have a good night.